Hey guys, it's Bobby aka Paginator, and I am here today to do a book review. I have dedicated this day to reading, and right now it's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I have just finished Notes from My Captivity by Kathy Parks. This book came to me in the Once Upon a Book Club YA box, and I didn't do an unboxing for this because it was the only thing that I had, and this is difficult to do an unboxing with until after you read the book because you're supposed to open the gifts as you read. So I'm going to share with you the gifts that came with this book as I tell the story of the book and go into my review. So I'm going to start by kind of summarizing what's on the synopsis inside the dust jacket. It talks about our main character, Adrienne. It says she cares about 3 things: getting into a great college, becoming a revered journalist like her idol Sidney DeClay, and making her late father proud of her. So what happens is that her father passed away years ago, and her mother has now remarried, and her stepfather is this college professor who has been studying the story of this family called the Asimovs, and they are a family of Siberian hermits that have legendarily fled into the woods of Siberia and lived there and survived for decades in the harshest climates of Siberia. And a lot of people don't believe they exist, but Adrienne's stepfather Dan truly believes they do, and he's mounted many expeditions to try to find them. This is his 3rd or 4th expedition up this certain river to where he believes this family is living, and he really wants to find them, and Adrienne has been allowed to go with him. And because she's an aspiring journalist, she thinks, oh, I'm going to be able to write this wonderful article, something called Wild Goose Chase or something like that, about how my crazy stepfather thinks that these families living in Russia, and it'll launch my journalism career. And what we see happen is, as she goes into this really unforgiving Russian terrain, things start to go wrong. There's a guide, and there are some explorers that Dan has hired to help them get there, and something happens to them, and Adrienne and Dan are kind of left to figure out survival on their own. And then we have an encounter with this recluse family. Now, that is not a spoiler because it mentions it right in the dust jacket, so I'm not going to count that as a spoiler. Also, because the title is Notes from My Captivity, that kind of hints to you that there is a captive situation going on. But there's a lot more to that than meets the eye. Is she really captive? Is she just encountering these people? What's going on? I can tell you that this book does have some like romantic feels going on in it, but I'm not going to explain why. I'll save that for the spoilery part of this review. I'm going to take some time now to show the items that came with the book, and then we'll get into some spoilers. I'm not going to tell you everything, but a little bit more information than what I've given so far. So the first thing that wasn't strictly a gift that you're supposed to open as you read just came with this. Was a print that has a quote from the book, and it says, "We are all the same story, and in this story we love and we hate and we wish for things." So it's got some pretty trees there, just a cute little print to display. The first gift, and I'm not going to explain all the meaning behind all of these things, so if you don't want to know what the gifts are, you can just stop watching now. But the first thing that came with it is this little necklace, and it's got this green colored stone on it, and it came with a little sticker on it, but the sticker peeled up so easily that I just took it off anyway. I think the sticker is meant to stay on there because it represents Adrienne, our main character, but it was halfway peeled off already, so I thought, I'm just going to take the sticker off. Up next was this green box, and you could see it was for page 162, and inside was this very pretty bowl. If I hold that so you can see there are some flowers around the edges. So that's really lovely. I haven't decided if I'm gonna keep this to use as like a cereal bowl or a bowl to like eat out of, or if I'm going to find a fun way to use it to display some things, either home or in the classroom. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with that yet. Now, this next thing, I freaked out over just seeing the packaging of it. Like, holy crap. So this is wood that's been shaped into this little purse thing. And then when you open it, inside there are two of these, let me set this down, of these illustrations. And they represent some characters. And again, I'm not going to talk about exactly what that is right this second. The last item in here is, came in this envelope, and it is a little snippet of a New York Times article. I'm not going to hold it too close so that you can see because that might spoil some things. So those are the items that came with this book. And I am now going to start the more spoilery section of this review. So if you don't want to hear any more, feel free to stop and go on to something else. And have a wonderful day. Alright, so for the rest of you that stayed, I am going to share some more information about the book and some of the items as well. So, I mentioned earlier that Adrian is going to encounter these recluses. What's happened is the Asimov family is in the wilderness, and originally I think it was just the parents, and they had 4 children. And so the Asimovs had 2 boys and 2 girls, and the girls were twins, one of which unfortunately passed away. And then they have the older brother who's very grouchy, and at first Adrian calls him Scowly because she doesn't know his name. And then there's the younger brother, Vanya, and he's the one that we get the feels with, because Adrian thinks that she's being held captive by this people and that they murdered the guides that were with her and her stepdad. But she finds out later that's not really the case. They're keeping her with them out of self-preservation. But while she's feeling like she's a captive, she hatches this plan that she's going to make Vanya fall in love with her and trick him into helping her escape. Because he's kind of given her a couple of sidelong glances and kind of like, wonder who this girl is that's not related to me. So there is a relationship going on with those two. And so when you see the 2 drawings, this one is meant to represent Vanya, and he does look a little bit wild because he's a wilderness man. He's got a beard and his hair grows out and he's a little bit shaggy, but very smart, very interesting young man. He loves to write things down. He actually stole a notebook from a person they had encountered years ago and wrote things down. He found some books in the campsite where Adrian's group was, and he took those because he's very interested in literacy and learning about things. And he's very sweet as well. His older brother is kind of a grouchy-faced jerk a lot of the time, but Vanya is just a sweetheart. And yeah, I'm not going to tell you who the other character is meant to represent on the other tile that we saw in that package, just because I'm not gonna. You're gonna have to wait and find out. What else can I tell you that won't be too much of a spoiler? One thing that I would add about this book, I guess, is I wasn't expecting to really love it as much as I did. I thought, oh, I think I know where this story's gonna go, and it's gonna be fine, whatever. I'm just gonna read it, and I'll probably enjoy the story a little bit. I really, 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 really loved this story, and it took me very few chapters to get myself engaged and into it. But once I was in, I was really in, and I just read, and it didn't take me all that long to get through it. So this book, I have a feeling, is going to stay with me for a while. There were some lessons learned and some themes with this book that just kind of hit me, and I don't want to go into those because they'll spoil some other things that will happen in this book. I will tell you that there is a touch of magic in this story as well, and I will tell you that you will most likely find all of the characters quite interesting. At the beginning of the book, I was a little bit hesitant because Adrian, when she first gets to Russia, she's like, oh, I'm in Russia, I can drink beer and I can do all this and blah, blah, blah. And she's flirting with boys, and I thought, oh, is this going to be another reckless teenage girl doing really stupid things? But it soon shifted very much out of that and turned into this really wonderful story about survival and family and what happens to our loved ones, and how, what am I thinking? How families are more than just the people that you're biologically related to. Yeah. So I think I'm just going to stop there because I keep wanting to say more things and I don't want to ruin this book for anyone. I did give a few spoilers in this section, but not enough that would totally ruin your reading experience. So I hope you will look for a copy of this at a local bookstore or library, or look for it online and read this book because just really, really good. Yeah. So I think that's about it. I'm going to wrap up this review. I may have more to share if I read more today because, as I said, it's all about reading today. But we'll save that for another video. So I am going to sign off and wish you a wonderful and bookish day. Happy reading. Adios.